Thank you. Okay, so we will reconvene the subcommittee on bonding, our agency meetings, and we'll start with the Department of Motor Vehicles. And I believe Commissioner Guerrera is with us online. Commissioner, if you are, oh, I see it here. Great. Commissioner, you may begin your presentation, and then we'll take some questions if that works for you.
That would be perfect. Thank you, Representative. Let me just start off by saying, I should say good afternoon, depending on which clock we're looking at, right? Good afternoon to the members. My name is Tony Guerrera. I'm the Commissioner of DMV. Today, you're joined with our two deputies, Ben Arsenal and Millie Torres-Ferguson. Also, our fiscal services, Allison Bruce, Abby Lawson, and also my Chief of Staff, Tiffany Hardwick, along with all of you that you know, my legislative liaison, Jim Politis. You have my testimony in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, but basically I'm just grateful for the governor's confidence and the commitment to the DMV, and what we've done over the last few years has been absolutely astounding in regards to the customer service, the feedback that we're getting, everything by going online with a lot of our transaction, our customer service that we deliver to the constituents that all affect all of you in this room is number one priority to the Department of Motor Vehicles. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that also, although we are moving to modernize many things, we still have physical structures out there, buildings, so forth, that need heating systems, that need air conditioning, that we have to abide by the ADA laws. So people who come in, with wheelchairs or disabilities, to make sure that we have sidewalks that is appropriate for them to use, to have elevators that they can use. Because we never want to exclude anybody that comes to the DMV. And with that said, you have in front of you what we're looking for in regards to emergency services funds, and also to our Hampton, which is about 1.3 million to do parking lot improvements, drainage improvements, sidewalk improvements, basically an overhaul of the whole entire area there. And also we're asking for about 500,000 for emergency funds for all the other 9 locations that we see throughout the number of years here that I've been here that come up, whether it's something to do with the heating system, whether it's a leaky roof, whatever it may be. And I just want to be very clear with the members here I'm a firm believer is you work with what you have. And we have done a tremendous job here to try to do whatever we can. But also we have to understand that, we try to patch as many holes as we can, but sometimes it gets beyond that patching of a hole, and we need to really start to look at, are we throwing good money after bad money or whatever? So we need to make sure we have a structure in place that allows us to have that money. And if we don't use that money, then obviously we give it back. But a lot of our operation monies came out of that to help fix a lot of our structures out there. So that's why we're in front of you, and I'll open it up to any questions that you may have.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. And again, thanks for the great work that you and your agency have done on behalf of our residents. A question I have is, what major capital projects does DMV have planned for the next couple of years? Major projects.
Yeah, well, the major project will be this: the Hampton DMV branch office, which is on State Street, Representative, is probably looking at a total pavement, basically a whole redig, let's put it that way. My prior life, as you know, Representative, I was in the construction business, so I know firsthand quite a bit about what it takes to do major construction sites, and this one is in dire needs. If you've been there, you've seen huge potholes. You've seen sidewalks that need to be improved, and that's going to probably run, unfortunately, about $1.3 million in today's construction cost. If this was 5-6 years ago, I probably would say that we'd be looking probably like for about $1 million. But the cost of construction out there has skyrocketed. I would say that's first and foremost. The other $500,000, as I stated before in my remarks, Representative, is emergency things that come about. That's out of our hands sometimes. We got air conditioning systems. Picture this: it's 100 degrees out there. Next thing you know, the air conditioning's out, and then we have employees that can't function. You can have customers that can't function. And I wish I could say like $5,000-$10,000 does the trick, but it seems like you need much more than that in today's dollars and cents when it comes to construction costs.
No, that's great. Thank you for your answer. And then a follow-up question is, has the department previously developed any type of capital improvement plan?
Yes, we have. We've always done that. Over the 4 years as a deputy representative, and I know that under our facilities manager, who does a fantastic job here, he really does, with all our branches and the fiscal team. We've always tried to do a capital improvement. But again, Representative, we make ends meet, right? I look at it as that it's just like your household, whatever monies you're bringing in, you try to divvy it up in regards to what's the things that you can do and what things you need to hold off on. I just want to be proactive so I don't come in front of you or you don't receive phone calls saying I was at the DMV in Hampton and my daughter fell and next thing you know, she's got 10 stitches to her forehead. And why is that? Because whatever, we couldn't fix the sidewalks at the time because our funds didn't allow us. Sure, we can patch it and we've done many patches. But now we have to come to the realization that it's time to really, bite the bullet here and let's fix these structures that need to be fixed.
That's great. Thanks for your responses. They're very helpful. Representative Piscopal, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say hello to my friend and commissioner for being here. I miss you up here, Tony.
How are you, Representative Piscopal? Nice seeing you. Very
well. I see your agency requested and thank you for your testimony, by the way. Your staff and you did a great job in just outlining exactly where you want to go with your future capital requests. And you have quite a bit of requests, like 9 million, 9.3 million, and then 15 million in the out year. The governor's recommended 2 million and 2 million in both years. It seems like there's quite a discrepancy there. I understand you're a good soldier, and I understand that you will make do with what you get. But if there's a shortfall in a certain priority of yours, do you have one? I guess I will pose that in the form of a question, Tony, Commissioner. Thank you.
Yeah, and always thanks for the question, Representative Piscopal. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you that I served with you in the legislature. When you look at these budgets, we are looking at, as you can see, for 2024, 9, and you got 2025, what I think was 15 million. But again, these are emergency funds that we're looking right now in the next coming 6 months to a year right now, that anything could happen. I'm hoping that, again, when we start looking at some of these, that we restructure, we may look at different types of buildings, how we can try to really make do with what we have. But, we just like to put things out there so everyone understands that, me, Representative Piscopal, I'm a no-nonsense type of individual. I'm showing you my cards, and I want to always be clear with everybody on the committee.
I appreciate that, Commissioner, and you have done great work. I think we all could agree that you've made great strides in recent years with that department. So keep it up and hang in there. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Right.
Thank you for the questions. Representative Farrar, you have the floor.
Thank you to the chair. Thank you, Commissioner, for being with us. And I just had a couple questions following up on some of the testimony. And again, appreciate you kind of giving us the high level, as you noted, about the priorities and also where we might look for your guidance on the funding that you've requested as well. I did want to follow up. I know you thoughtfully included in your testimony to us today that some of the DMV service extension will include the additional languages for the written knowledge exams. I just want to thank you as Commissioner for working with us on the Transportation Committee on that. I did want to bring up, though, I know that you had mentioned there might be technology associated with pursuing those additional languages. Is that technology that is needed in any sort of bonding request, or that could be fulfilled on the appropriation side?
Well, thank you for that question, Representative. And I'm very happy to say that we don't need to go out to bonding in regards to the languages. As you know, when I testified in front of the Transportation Committee, this is near and dear to your heart, and it's also near and dear to many of us here at the agency, that we need to accommodate as many people as we can. And our team got together and we are working it extremely hard. And I'm happy to say that we'll probably have some very good news to share with many of you probably within the next 60 days.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good to hear that that's moving forward. And again, as you noted, it can be done with some of the funds that you already have at the DMV. I did have a question on the summary item about fiscal year 24. There was a request for acquiring a site for commercial driver's license testing center. Can you give a little more information about the need for that and that request?
Sure, and thank you for that, Representative. When we talk about commercial driving, obviously these are trucks, right? These are people that are going for the CDLs, appointments, licensing. And when you look at a site, you kind of need a big area, Representative. It can't be in an area that, you know, where someone is taking a test with their vehicle, their car. Tractor trailers, triaxles, 6, 8, 10, 14, 18 wheelers need a specific bigger location maneuver around that. Right now, we're working closely with DOT and some of their stations, but we always want to keep in mind that if we're going to move forward here in the future, that let's keep our eyes open to look to see if we can find a location that can accommodate those types of individuals who have the need to get their CDL license, which we all know is so important out there to get as many truck drivers on the road that deliver our goods and services throughout the state. And basically we're the heroes during COVID, bringing everything to us that we needed so desperately.
Thank you, Commissioner. So to clarify, where are folks getting their licenses for their CDLs currently?
They would go to a third party. They go to a driving school that does CDL. And I believe there's 2 locations as we speak right now. But we're always looking as an agency to expand that in regards to our own.
Thank you. Are the locations scattered across the state? Is that also one of the reasons why you'd be looking for an additional testing center?
Yes, Representative. There's one in Mansfield and there's one in Winstead right now. So we'd like to see if we could try to find something in the center of the state here.
Okay, thank you for that. And then just one other question. I appreciated your answer about the capital, overall capital improvement plan. And I certainly looked through again the list of requests for your capital program. Can you speak to if there are elements in your capital program, particularly for energy efficiency and sustainability? Because I didn't see in the list any items that were specific to that for some of the facilities.
No, that's a very good question, Representative. Thank you for that question. We do work closely with DEEP in regards to looking at how we, as an agency, when we start doing a parking lot, right? How do we make sure we put charging stations in place? All right, for those vehicles that are coming in place that are electrified. Any project that we look at, we try to work with our brothers and sisters out there, agencies, to try to make sure that we have all the proper measurements to make sure that if we're going to start to dig in the ground, that we make sure that we do it in a way that the agency is not just good for a year, but good for 20 years down the road. To make sure that even if we don't have something, that we have some type of conduit in the ground to make sure that it can be electrified without ripping up the whole parking lot again.
Thank you for that on the parking lot. And I know there were a few items in the list about, for instance, generators, furnaces, rooftops. Are you all looking at in regards to energy items as well that could be more efficient for the facility?
Absolutely, Representative. No matter what we do, when we start to look at new furnaces, new lighting, they're all LED lightings, right? Furnaces are now 99.9 more energy efficient. Some of the things that we've had in this agency are almost like, you know, I hate to say it, but like 80%, you know what I mean? Or 85%, you know what I mean? But as technology grows and technology gets better and better, more efficiency are the furnaces, are the lighting systems, and we're going to capitalize on all that.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. And as you noted, several of these costs are costs on the front end, but would certainly save costs and reduce your energy footprint as well. So thank you, Commissioner, for all of those updates. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Chairman.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
those questions. Next, I would call on our co-chair, Senator Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioner. How are you?
Senator Moore, nice to
Good
see
to
you.
see you today. So I have a question, and it's really about, do you work with the Department of Administrative Services, trying to figure out if there are some properties that you could use for sites?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Senator Moore. It's always good to see you. Absolutely. We have to be realistic, Senator Moore, when we look at some of our properties, and if it's gonna, the cost factor in regards to those properties. I tend to work every day, to be quite honest with you, with some of the individuals at DAS, to always look at a footprint of a area that could be a super DMV, right? That could maybe accommodate a Bridgeport and Stratford area, somewhere in that area that can really accommodate many, many individuals. So yes, we are always looking in regards to different locations, making sure when we choose a location, Senator Moore, that it's on a bus route to help those individuals that need to get there that may not have a vehicle, and to make sure that it fits the footprint in regards to a heat map that captures many of the constituents in the state of Connecticut.
And so is DAS proactive in helping you do that?
They are. Yes, they are, Senator Moore. Thank you.
Okay, and then on Saturday, this was interesting. I met a young man who has a business who is able to register cars. He said he's only one of 3 in Connecticut that he can do registration for cars,
So
for
help me.
vehicles. He has a site in Bridgeport that you could.
Company, so he has an X license then, it's called, so where he's able to register and title cars, I believe.
Yes. Yes. Are there only 3 in the state?
I think there's more than that, Senator Moore. But again, those are really that we are looking at that whole program in regards to make sure that, that these are individuals that are making sure that when they get the right paperwork, they do the right thing, and not just, obviously as a money grabber, to make sure that those people that they're working for is done in a way that's efficient and expedites it in the best manner as possible.
Well, I was impressed with what he said. I talked to him about customer service, because that's always in the forefront of my mind, about how does the customer feel about their experience when they're coming in. He told me about their wait times, and that he has 3 or 4 people experienced and trained to handle some of this. I like that idea of taking some of the weight off of going into a big office, standing in line, getting some of that work done. But he also mentioned to me about the ability of when was it AAA, where you could go and get your license renewed?
Mhm.
Are you looking at doing that? Also being able to let someone else to subcontract to have their license renewed?
Well, we have right now, Senator Moore, and thank you for that question. We have AAA and we have Nutmeg Credit Union that allow you to do that, to renew your licenses, to get a license and so forth. Right now, because you could do a lot of things online, right now we're seeing that some of our other partners out there have seen a little bit of a decline, right? Because some people now will do it online. But I think that we're in a pretty good place, Senator Moore, in regards to having our partners out there. But I'm also excited to say, Senator Moore, that the DMV and this administration and this administrative team is looking for a mobile unit, Senator Moore, that we come out to you. We come out to your senior centers. We come out to your municipalities. So therefore, we have a day that we sit in the senior center and we have seniors come to us rather than them having to come to our DMV to help register a vehicle or just to get an ID. Because a lot of them don't want to have a license anymore. But as you know, Senator Moore, many of them need an ID to wherever they go. So we're excited about launching a mobile unit that will travel throughout the state of Connecticut.
I love that. I love that. Go to where the people are. That's really great customer service. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for your work. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Senator Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for those great questions, Senator. Now I'll recognize our ranking member, Senator Wong. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome, Commissioner. Thank you for your past service. as Deputy Commissioner and Chairs of Transportation, and for me as the ranking in transportation this year, I must say you had a terrifically successful committee work. Your staff was constantly available, professional, and resourceful. I want to give a shout out to Jim Politis, who was at every single meeting. We had a lot of meetings too, so it was a compliment to the work that you did. I mean, in the beginning, this opening session, we welcomed you as you got nominated, but you have delivered and been a tremendous resource. I want to thank you as your work in the Transportation Committee. But I'm going to make the pivot to your bonding request. First, how many employees are in the DMV department in Connecticut?
Right now, I believe, first of all, thank you for those nice words, Senator. Second,
Well deserved, sir.
hey guys, I think we're probably looking at 568 right now. And don't hold me to it, Senator Wong. It could be, I may be off a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's right around the 570 range there.
Well, thank you. And the reason I ask that is, post-COVID, the department had to change and adapt, but it seems that you've come out of it with a can-do attitude. You have been kind of a part of a can-do culture change from utilizing technology and easing the transaction. I must compliment you. And in my past interactions with the department, it was always what we can't do, and here's a challenge and all that. But under your leadership, it's been about can do from a standpoint of multi-language adaptability. You have been tremendous in your leadership in saying, we're going to try to make it work using technology, the CDL bus driver licensing, and just the constant availability and the culture change when people go into your various Department of Services. As you know, the reputation in the past, going to DMV is second only to going to the dentist's office, and you've changed that culture. So I just really want to commend you on that, because the utilization of technology and your leadership in saying, let's see what we can do is tangible. And I really want to extend my thank you on that. You also presented, as the House ranking member cited, in regards to the simplicity and the directness of your request and allocation. Is there any effort in your part in collaborating with the governor's office and OPM to prioritize the projects that you have outlined here from a ranking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as to what are the prioritization and urgency relative to the numbers that you've cited here? Because that would give us a better sense of where the money is needed from an urgent matter. Is it for furnaces? Is it for improving customer experience or masonry repair? Have you prepared a project that you can share with this committee in regards the prioritization and ranking of these priority projects that you need to get done in a timely, efficient basis?
Well, first of all, let me say this, Senator Wong. Thank you for those kind words, but I will say this: nothing could have been done without the amazing team at the DMV, and I mean that sincerely. The individuals here, as you mentioned during COVID, were front-facing. While many of us were home, these individuals were here, knowing that people had to get their licenses, had to get their cars registered, to get to work, to make money, to pay for the bills, all right? And they came to work not knowing what COVID was, what the outcome would have been, all right? And I can't thank that team enough. You and I served quite a number of years up there together in regards to transportation and other agencies, and we know firsthand a lot of the complaints we used to get with DMV as legislators, all right? I made it a mission when I became a deputy, and I made it a mission as a commissioner that we will always try to do our very best. I don't like saying no to anyone, Senator. There's always a way to try to figure something out. It may not be 100% that you may want, but at least if I can give you 50 or 60%, that's better than you going home with zero. And that's the mentality that I have here, and that's the philosophy that I share with many of the employees here. With that said, in regards, our team is always looking at prioritizing what needs to be done, all right, in regards to ranking it from 1 being the worst to being 5 being not as bad. And I agree with you. We have that list amongst us, but that's something that's shared within the agency, and maybe we should share that with all of you, so you have a better, clear idea of what's going on. But what I've learned, Senator Wong, is that one, being in my prior life in construction and, and dealing with buildings and maintenance and so forth, just when you think that something's going well, like a furnace and all that, all of a sudden you turn around the next day and it's gone on you. All right. And then you have no, again, you know what I mean? You have to spend another 20, 30 G's to get that furnace up and running. The air conditioning units that might look perfect, right? Next thing you know, we find out what happened. A bunch of mice were eating up the wires inside there. And next thing you know, you have no air conditioning. As crazy as that may sound, those are true stories that really have happened. So I appreciate you're always thinking, Senator, in regards to how we do this. And I will take that to the team and come up with some type of an analogy of 1 through 5, what is needed the most and what can hold off as long as possible.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Commissioner. And you continually utilize technology and integrating it to providing a higher level of customer service. Is that IT and technology innovation on the appropriation side rather than bonding side?
Yeah, well, again, it is on the appropriation side, Senator Wong, but again, there's also IT bonding, right? That when we have to start looking at, and Senator Wong, you know this better than I do probably. It's amazing, right? IT, how much things change with IT, right? You look at your cell phones within 2 years, there's a whole new system that comes up with. Even the same thing with IT that I've learned being as a deputy and as a commissioner, that, you think 4 or 5 years is a long time with IT. My God, it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's like technology changes it's so fast within 2 years. So we have to be cognizant of that. And we also have to, if we're gonna know that we have some type of road plan to make sure that we're looking at how we always update our systems, all right? To make sure that we give the very best to everyone out there that come to the DMV, because we are the front-facing agency for probably 99.9% of the people in the state of Connecticut. And I would not be doing my job, or our team would not be doing their job, if we didn't let you know that we have to have a road plan for IT. It's constantly changing, Senator. But to be the best that we are, we have to do that.
I appreciate that vision and commitment to that. And that's why I was wondering if there is a bonding component for the IT and technology infrastructure and constant improvement and innovation. It's not requested in the bonding request. That's why I'm asking.
No, it's not.
In this bonding request, is there consideration to be able to share that with this committee as to what kind of technology bonding needs you have? I'm not trying to add more bonding, but if you do have a need and you have allocations for it, please do share that with this subcommittee to be sure that we allow you to succeed to provide the highest level of customer service. So thank you again, Commissioner. Again, your staff has always been readily available, and I would be remiss if I didn't do a big shout out to new Deputy Commissioner, Millie Torres Ferguson. So welcome, Ms. Ferguson. You're building quite a team there, Commissioner. Kudos to you. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for the indulgence of the time in question.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Representative Meskers, you have the floor.
Commissioner, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Representative. Nice to see you.
It's great seeing you. I can't be prouder and more satisfied with the job you've done in taking the DMV to where it is today. The level of customer satisfaction, the experience that I get reports back is just overwhelming. So take that back to your team, and I want to thank you. And now the second comment, prepare yourself, fasten your seatbelt. So what I'm sensing from you in the commentary is an incredible focus on customer satisfaction and customer service. I think we're doing a great job there. I guess I'm going to raise the bar or take it to the next step, which I'd like your DMV to look across the multi-state lines and to come back with, I would think there may be some bonding requests going forward, come back to the business models of some of our other states. Particularly, I'll go and refer to, I believe it's Maine, which is cornering the market on tractor trailer registrations. And I'd like us to look at the future business models and other revenue sources, not to supplant bonding, but other lines of business or categories where we should be considering expanding. Because as you move us forward on the technological basis, I think you'll have a staff now that you can focus on other aspects, both of revenue and service, that we could expand the business model for our DMV. And somebody with your vision, I think would be the perfect person to lead that effort. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know you've been bringing us into the 21st century or the 22nd century aggressively. And now the question is, I'd like you to consider those. I don't know if you have any initial thoughts.
Well, Representative Metzger, thank you for those kind words, and thank you for all what you do and all what the General Assembly does, because we couldn't do what we do without the support and the backing of all of you. I take that challenge, and I will say this, that this is something I think you bring to an attention that we should be working closely with people like Gary Ugolito, the new commissioner at DOT, and us, and maybe some other state agencies, DRS, in regards to find out what they are doing and how we can work as a multi-state agency to really capture those revenues like other states are doing. So I think you hit the nail right on the head. And I think that those comments and those questions will be answered and with other commissioners like myself to see how we can calculate all of that.
Well, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you for the questions. Representative Baumgartner, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's absolutely wonderful to see a former chair of the Transportation Committee, one of my favorite committees of all time, due to your great leadership, Commissioner Guerrera, and congratulations on your new role. Couldn't think of a better person at this time to lead the department. And as Ranking Member Wong alluded to, you've developed quite a dream team as well. And congratulations to Mrs. Torres Ferguson as well on your new role as Deputy Commissioner. As was discussed by many of my colleagues, just with respect to the level of investment in technology since the onset of the pandemic, done yeoman's work really getting these technologies and initiatives out there, and our constituents, thank you for that. With so much going on in our lives, the ability to utilize DMV services online has greatly has given a lot more time back to our working families here in Connecticut. So thank you for those efforts, and as a committee, as has been discussed earlier, we'll be supportive in those efforts for the years to come. My question relates to kind of the use and future use of your DMV facilities. Case in point, I saw that there is a potential proposal to consolidate the Old Saybrook and Norwich DMV branches. When I was a kid, I do recall that there were quite a few DMV branches in our neck of the woods, and as part of that, there was also a note about some of the bonding going towards the acquisition of facilities. My question to you, Commissioner, is has your agency identified or looked at other potential even state properties that you could leverage as part of these future expansions?
Thank you, Representative. It's always good to see you, and nice to see you in that role now. Let me just say this. We are always looking. We have worked closely with DAS, Representative, in regards to looking at future buildings. Future buildings that maybe, as we know, because of COVID, a lot of buildings now have been vacated, right? Because a lot of businesses went online rather than being in storefronts. So every day, I will say this, we have a close relationship with the DAS construction services that are looking for us in regards to areas such as Norwich and Old Saybrook, somewhere in the New London area, you know what I mean, in regards to see how we can expand those services. But I want to say this, with that said, I also want to make sure that people have the conveniency of getting to a DMV. And it's important, that is very important to this team. And I think that it's important to me, and I think it's probably important to all of you that are out there right now, because we want to make sure they're on bus routes. We want to make sure that people have the availability to get to a DMV to get their transactions done. And that is why it's so important that when we try to launch our mobile unit, that rather than you coming to us, we're coming to you now, especially for those people who are disabled or seniors that don't have the comforts of getting into a vehicle to travel, say 20 minutes out of their way or 30 minutes to a DMV. So yes, the answer, I guess, to your question is we're always looking, and we will keep you apprised of all the information that we receive and any movements that we would make from the DMV.
Thank you again, Commissioner. And I guess my final follow-up question, earlier we talked about licenses. I know some states have launched licenses or that you can keep on your cell phone and a digitized ID or driver's license. Is there any plans for Connecticut to adopt that such a technology? And if so, it can this committee be of any assistance?
Let me say this, and thank you for that question. Technology allows us to do so much now, Representative. As you know, Apple's out there already talking about the Apple Wallet, where you have the option. Let me say this: you have the option of putting your license on that phone. But before we go move towards that direction, we have to make sure that all our I's are dotted, all our T's are crossed in regards to the safety mechanisms that are in place for security reasons before we do that. But I do see in the future that you will have the availability, I think in the coming years, to have that feature, whether it's on an Android phone or an iPhone, at your willing to do.
And again, I think this speaks to why you and your team are well equipped to handle these challenges, doing that due diligence. So I very much appreciate your answers, Commissioner, and look forward to supporting you in your mission for the years to come. Thank you again.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for those good questions. So I see no further questions. Commissioner, thank you so much for being here. I want to take a moment on behalf of this subcommittee and thank you and your staff, as well as Governor Ned Lamont, who all came together to make sure that DMV was streamlined and had better business practices and was more consumer friendly. So we thank you so much for modernizing that agency. And it just shows us that when people work together, you get good government. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I couldn't have said it better. Governor Lamont's vision to give us the resources that we needed to do this, and also to all of the people in the General Assembly having the confidence in the DMV to fulfill a lot of those technology new pieces that we put in place to make sure that our constituents get the service that they deserve, and to make sure that we do our job to make sure that everyone that comes here leaves with a satisfied transaction. So thank you again.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so we will have a short break until 1:30. After 1:30, Department of Administrative Services will be here. And to close us out will be the Office of Policy and Management. See you shortly.